Statistically, it is the case still that more men are killed than women. But I think the concern of feminists in Kenya at the moment has been that we've seen a surge in very violent attacks on women, primarily by people who know them, intimate spouses, relatives, first-time dates. The thing that's very common seems to be two things. One is that the deaths are very violent, and in some cases have led to dismembering and beheading of young women. And the second thing is that the police have tended to be quite slow in terms of responding to the cases. Now, this is what has informed this particular thrust by these women in terms of the women's organizations that have come out on this issue. One thing to recognize is that it's almost 10 years since the Kenyan equivalent of the Me Too movement burst onto our streets with the My Dress, My Choice campaign. And that was really a campaign to make sure that public spaces were safe for women, particularly public vehicles, buses and matatus, as we say in Nairobi. So I think, this is another moment where I think there is a consciousness that something needs to happen. So this organization has generated 16 demands to the government. The first starts with the president to declare through an executive order a series of actions that would lead to strengthening safe houses, improving investigations and reporting and the safety for reporting, but also looking at things like, for example, where does femicide and gender-based violence sit within the ministries? And is there a specialized program that is leading to civic education? Because much of the violence is socialized, and therefore it needs a development program that actually ensures that the public respect let me put it this way, that men respect the rights of women, particularly in terms of their bodies, in terms of their thoughts and their choices.
Yeah. Now, some have also observed that it could be that this is a manifestation of certain other issues in society. It could be frustration, but they react to certain situations. So what is the place of perhaps economics and psychological issues among men and even women?
No, as Amnesty International, we would probably start off with a structural analysis. I mean, what you have to understand is that many households are crashing under the economic recession. There is a lot of mental health challenges out there. There is a sense of insecurity that leads to lower self-esteem. It also leads to a sense of entitlement and resentment towards others. And that these are all factors that need to be worked through in this civic education program that would hopefully be rolled out by the state with civil society organizations. There has been a tendency to, I guess, to look for blame in very strange quarters. So some people have argued that maybe this is the consequence of 20 years of gender sensitization and gender empowerment or women's empowerment. And that what we have now is a situation where a lot of men feel disenfranchised. They feel that they have become emasculated because there are strong, confident, well-resourced women that actually don't need them financially anymore. That's another argument. But I think that argument for me worries me because it ends up finding the blame on the side of the women, who is also the victim. And I think what we have to look at is what is the conditions that produces this toxic masculinity, this sense of entitlement over a woman's body that when rejected becomes violent. Why is it that our men and our boys are not able to simply say, you're not interested in me, that's fine, let me go look for somebody who might be?